How's it going, man? You good? Welcome to
It's
this.
going well.
Welcome to this photo meetup. Just want to start by
Thanks.
saying thank you so much for turning up. It's
Thank you for
obviously
being here.
expected to. We wanted to chat to everyone, but it's cool just to have a one-on-one. It's not a problem.
Cool.
And I'll start by saying my name is Francesco. You can call me Frank. Everyone calls me Frank on the group. And
Cool.
It's a pleasure to have you, man. So let's start. Let us know where you're from, a little bit of photography background, what you're interested in, landscape, street life, anything. Floor's yours.
Thanks, man. It's really nice to be really nice to be here. It's first time doing something like that, so that's pretty cool. My name is Omar, and I'm originally from Egypt. I moved to Sweden like 5 years ago, initially to study, but then I stayed here a little bit longer, which is pretty cool. The whole photography thing is really interesting, because if you talk to me like, I don't know, maybe like 8 years ago or 7 years ago, photography wasn't even something that I had on my radar. It was a really exciting experience, because I started off by getting a role in a feature film in Egypt, in a movie in Egypt, and then
No way.
That's how it kind of all started for me. Like at the beginning, I was into this NGO, working for an NGO, like kind of doing like charity things, going to public schools and helping out there and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I get this kind of opportunity to act in a movie. I was 18 then. I had no idea like what acting in a movie is. Like for me, it was like watching movies and that's it. You never know how much work is going behind the scenes. And then afterwards I did the movie. It was a great experience, but then the thing that really captured my attention and my kind of became a passion afterwards was filmmaking. And that's where it became like kind of took a shift from like political science, and took a shift from this kind of non-artistic background into all of a sudden like it was like just a heap load of like creativity, and like all creative people, like just hanging around with creative people, and all of that all at the same time. So that's really where it started off for me with photography and filmmaking. It started off with filmmaking first, and then like gradually I started like wanting to capture like stories, or capture like images in like in one picture, in one frame, rather than just like a whole like series of movies or films or stuff like that. So I guess it was a gradual transition, starting from acting into filmmaking, and then like photography, and now I do both. Actually, now I do both photography and filmmaking at the same time.
Well, you got your production. I checked it out. The production channel, which you have on Instagram.
Exactly.
I assume that's
G-Rock
related to the.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I started off with like doing like just a couple of years ago, having more of on hands social media content, digital content, just in general, videos and graphic designs and all of that. That's what we offer on G-Rock Productions, more or less.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like the whole when you said, I transitioned gradually, but it was like you were dropped into the shark's tank. You know what I mean? Like it just happened so quick, out of nothing, and it just completely changed. Because what were you studying before? Photography? Before you were even interested?
No, not even photography. Actually, I was just studying political science. Like I finished high school in Egypt back then. There was a revolution going on, and it was a very political atmosphere. Like politics was just taking over the whole country, and that was like kind of, it was so interesting for me. Just finished high school, wanted to learn more about how the world works, so I naturally just went into political science, and I got that movie opportunity, and it just kind of it really captured not just like my attention, but it really captured my passion and ambition. And I found that this is actually something that I would rather focus on other than politics, because with politics, what I came to realize is just it's too much talk. There isn't anything like solid, or there's anything that I can like tangible, that I can reflect what I really think of, or like express myself the way I really want to express myself. And when I did the movie, I was like, wow, there's a platform here that I can express myself through an artistic way or a creative way. And I remember like I took the paycheck from this acting career, and or from this acting job, and I actually put it all, invested it in New York Film Academy, where I went there and just learned filmmaking.
I've
So
heard
it
about
was
New
like,
York Film Academy. I've signed up
yeah,
to their newsletters. That some of the
yeah.
stuff that they do is really, really incredible. They kickstart so many people's careers. It's
They
massive.
are. They really are, man. It's a really like it really captivated my attention that I just wanted to put everything into it. Like I just wanted to like the paycheck. It wasn't even like I don't care about that anymore. I just want to learn like as much as possible when it comes to
Yeah.
filmmaking. And it's funny because a lot of people ask me, okay, why didn't you continue in acting, and why did you just drift into filmmaking? I don't know. There's something about filmmaking and creating like your own art that
Yeah.
that really grabbed my attention.
Were you ever interested in possibly documentary photography? Because you referred to growing up around a time where there was a lot of political chaos in Egypt. Were you ever interested at any point in documentary photography, or like going out on the streets, photographing riots, photographing protests, anything that had that political side, but also that
like,
street side?
Or back in that day, I wasn't at that level of photography yet, and I had didn't have that kind of mindset of going down and like photographing what is happening on the street or any of this. Ironically though, the company that I internshiped in, its main focus was documentary, and it did have like documentary, political documentaries, and it had like just social documentaries and stuff like that. So in a way, where I did my internship, I had really good like exposure to this kind of like way of doing documentaries and how to tell a story within like a documentary theme. So that was exciting. But no, like back in 2010 up until 2016, I would say, or 2012, I didn't feel the need or the interest to actually go into the street and just like photograph what's happening. Just because of the fact that I just really want to focus on more of human being stories that are like that can relate to me and you, rather than a big political scene that is going around. Like, that's kind of where my mind at. And for me, just because of the fact that the past years have been engulfed with so much politics, I've kind of reached a threshold where I really like, I always try to like separate myself from politics as soon as anything happens. I feel like politics isn't like something that excites me anymore, stimulates me anymore. Just it becomes more of a burden than anything.
It's so I think it's so saturated, especially when something happens politically straight away. You're always going to have divided opinions. You're going to have one extreme and you're going to have the other extreme. I usually tend to wait before, so I give like the first level of news articles, like they reach the top and then they say, okay, which ones are the most extremes? And then I wait and then I start to read, you know, behind the scenes. You start to realize, okay, maybe what this article said isn't exactly 100% true, or maybe what this, so because they over exaggerate everything, in my opinion.
Exactly. And I feel like
I agree with you 100%. I agree.
Yeah, and especially with the world we're living in, information, it like just keeps on coming, and like you think you have understood this point, and then this whole new kind of like angle just comes in, and then you're just like, okay, wait a minute. So it's really, it's like, for me, it's where I want to really focus my time on. Do I really want to focus my time on like a subjective thing that you will never reach a conclusion with, or do I want to like make art and like kind of do something objective with my life, like to be able to kind of like produce something or give back in a way?
I read like, I think fake news spreads 60% faster than actual real news. It's shocking how much fake news, like when this whole pandemic first started, you know, you get these videos on YouTube of people downing bleach, saying bleach cures coronavirus, and it's like, like, what? But it's crazy to think that. But that's really cool. I like the idea of having so many doors open, and then that you're still completely open to photography, obviously, you know, being my interest 100%. But the fact that you did this whole started with this film thing is an interesting transition. It's an interesting transition, for sure, to go into. Have you seen, there's this one film, I think it's brilliant, The Kingdom. Have you seen The Kingdom?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a very Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, I think I have seen that movie. I don't right now recall. We might be talking about two different movies, but I think I might have seen that one.
check out The Kingdom. I think it's a very, very, very
check
good
it out
film.
again, because is it about King Arthur?
No,
It's
no,
not the
no, no,
same
no.
one.
It's no, no. It's based in the Middle East.
Not the same one. Yeah.
Not the same one. It's based in the Middle East, but it's a great film. Like the way I
I'll
think you
definitely
really
check
like
it
it
out.
because it's political, but it's got like a hidden meaning of truth behind it. As soon as you take away all the politics towards the end of the film, the conclusion it's beautiful. It's incredible, and
We'll
it's sad,
definitely give
but
it a
it's
look.
incredible.
Yeah. We'll definitely check it out.
But yeah, so I'm going to screen share quickly here because there's one image that I really want to talk about that you actually made.
Okay, nice.
Let's go. I already got the tab open. Here we go. This was a picture, my guy. This was the picture.
Yeah.
This was the picture. Please let us describe this picture, give us some information because this is stunning. I've never seen a moon like this before, ever.
I like this. This was, first of all, this was probably my first ever serious attempt to astrophotography or to take a picture of anything in the sky at night, and it came up very randomly. I was on Twitter and I was checking my Twitter feed before I go to bed, and then there was this photographer that I don't know if you can put his link on in the description later on, but he took this insane picture of the moon that was 208 megapixel picture of the moon, and you can literally zoom in and you can see the details in it. And this, for me, this one was just it's so miles ahead of where I am right now. But for him, he took 20,000 pictures of the moon and he processed them, and I'm just okay, wait a minute, I love photography and I was really interested in astronomy when I was a kid, and I'm just I have to do this. So I literally just take my Lumix camera, which I had laying around, basically collecting dust, but I have a zoom lens on it that I can get as close as possible to the moon as I can. And I just took 550 pictures, and I just started stacking them and started aligning them and making sure that they processed. It took me 2 good days, 2 full days of working on this to be able to reach a resolution that I'm happy with, and also a level of detail where you can clearly see the moon as if it's a CGI or a 3D model.
I was about to say, you know how close I was to not picking this image because I thought it was digitally made.
Yeah.
I thought this was painted on Sketch or something. I was how can a photographer make this? And then I realized, okay, it's photo stacking. The only way I actually realized this was because I read the comment section, and there were so many people saying, this is fantastic, this is fantastic. And then you started justifying how you did it. I was like, okay, this guy's for real. This image is for real.
It was my first attempt. This is one of the pictures I'm really proud of.
You should be.
It was a project that I didn't intend to do at all. It just came to me in a Twitter feed, an idea. And I just wanted to try to replicate his work, but then I noticed that it's not about replicating his work. It's more of trying to do this to put my own take on it and to put it in my own way. You can get inspired by a lot of people. You want to even try to recreate what they've done, but at a certain point you feel okay, this is your own image and you're gonna have to make it on your own terms and how you really want them.
Absolutely.
And it was so frustrating to do. I remember it was my computer was heating up, and it was the fans was going crazy trying to stack up all these images. I tried 4 different workflows, and I had to restart from the beginning several times just to kind of be able to. It was a huge process. And
it's crazy. I've never ever done astrophotography in my life, so I wouldn't know where to begin. But 500 images, did you have to take them in different exposure settings, or was it just the same?
I did take most of them to I took most of them in a standard exposure settings, but there is a good percentage of the images that I took in there where it was either overly exposed just to kind of have more shine into the image of the moon, and some underexposed just for the shadows, so I can kind of have this information in the final picture. It has some sort of information metadata, I guess, I don't know what you call it, but like some information about the shadows and some information with the highlights to be able to kind of control them in the final process as I would like.
That's great, man. That's great. And then I noticed as I was scrolling on G-Raw Productions, I was like, what you are looking is not a 3D render of the moon. And then you state 550 separate pictures. So you selling this as a one of one. So somebody buys this picture,
it's gone. And this is something that I'm doing with my art prints. If you can, if you've noticed it, it's like all my art prints, and that's maybe why, like for instance, some people sell sell their pictures like cheaply, but they have like open, kind of unlimited amount of pictures. For me, it's like this one picture. Like I want whoever purchases this picture to see the value, that it reflects a certain value for them. So I don't want you to sit down and try to justify, like, I understand that at first glance, yes, the pricings might seem really expensive, but for me, it's like, it's a one-time thing. So you will be the only person that owns this picture in existence. That's number one. Number two, you kind of have to see the value in it. So if you don't see the value within the picture, then I completely understand, like, then it's not for you. And that's kind of my main, like, strategy with this. I don't want to have millions of the pictures everywhere, because IKEA does that, and there's a lot of places that sells millions of the same really good picture. Nothing against the picture is really nice and everything. It's just like it's too much of it, and I think it diminishes the value. I agree. I feel like if you have just one picture that you really like, that represents something to you or connects with you on a personal level, and you can, and it feels like you can justify the pricing of it, then you're going to be the only person to ever have that picture. No one else will have it. And once it's sold out and it disappears. It's not even on my website anymore.
Wow.
So
that's actually very good advice, to be honest, because I've had a moral dilemma myself, because I take, for me, it's landscape photography, and I take loads of landscape pictures. And obviously, you know, not every landscape picture that I take is gold. Some of them are like crap. And some of them are mediocre, and then some of them are good enough to go on social media sites, on websites, so on and so forth, and potentially to sell. But then I've taken like 1 or 2 or 3 very exceptional images that I think, okay, these I want to sell. But the problem is, I feel like if I have a limited version of them, like say 100, and then after the 100 images have been bought, that's it, it's finished, it's not going to be sold. Do you think that makes people not want to go back to you? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, does it hinder you as a photographer? Do you think?
I don't quite
like, does it make you, does it hinder you? Does it stop people from going, okay, I'm going to wait for the next 200. I'm going to wait for the next set, you know, because they're so limited.
Yeah,
it's difficult.
It is difficult, but at the same time, like you're saying, like if you have a limited amount, even if it's 100, then whoever is gonna buy these pictures, they are the right clients and they're the right customers, and they're buying it for a specific personal reason that they like justify paying this pricing for. And for me, and this is subjective, this is not something that I like, it's not a statement, it's more of how my kind of like understanding of this works, is the fact that like if you can connect to a picture on a personal level, and you like it and you pick it up and it's for you and it's only for you, then you are the kind of customer that I'm kind of trying to target. I'm not trying to appeal to everyone. I'm trying to appeal to like your emotion, into the sense of that you connect with this, that every time you walk by the picture, it's going to remind you of something. Either it's a childhood memory, or it's a feeling that you had, or it's something that you hold dear to you. So for me, it's like, I want you to be able to reconnect through my images with something that is dear to you. And even though, that's the thing, like I had so many people come to me and tell me, okay, but the prices are so expensive. And I'm just like, yes, sure, of course it's so expensive. If you don't really like the picture, if you don't see anything behind it, then I can't argue with you that it's not expensive. But if you're in love with the picture and you want to have it and it's going to be there on your wall forever, then it's a small price.
How,
I guess.
In terms of exchange rate, because I have no idea what 15,000 krona is in pounds.
It's like $1,300.
That's not that bad.
I don't know if pounds, how much pounds.
No, hang on. Was it? How do you spell Kronor?
Kronor.
Oh, there we go.
But that's Danish. Swedish crown.
Oh, Swedish crown. Oh, this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, like you are essentially aiming to sell. You're not just selling a picture. You are trying to sell something that's more than that. You're trying to sell to someone who values the work that's gone behind the picture. And I think a lot of people actually miss that. And I think it's actually a very good way of looking at it, because I know for a fact a lot of photographers, and myself included, we go down the rabbit hole of thinking, I've created something awesome, I want everybody to have it. But then you completely sometimes misjudge your market, and you think, okay, you lose desirability. And just people like, you don't want something that everybody else has.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And that's why, like, for instance, I have pictures that I have on my Instagram, or even some pictures that I don't think that they go under the art prints tab. I mean, they can be used as stock footage. Sometimes they can be sold for a cheaper price. It's a very select few pictures that I kind of like see and be like, okay, this goes under the art print tab. Has a little bit of a higher price tag.
Yeah, this is awesome, by the way, this picture here. I really like.
Thank you so much.
The horizon. It's very, very sharp, huh? It's very sharp. Where do you take this one?
This was in northern Sweden last year, in summer 2019. We were at the northest part, not northest, but like in northern Sweden, and it was the first time I've been up north to that extent, and it was a beautiful sunset. So
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's like, it looks like the sun is on the freaking water.
Yeah,
it's insane, man. The colors are awesome. I love this picture.
Thanks.
No, you have a good eye. I've seen your Instagram, and it's what was your Instagram?
It's the GRAW7.
GRAW.
The THE.
Oh,
no, the GRAW7. Yeah.
The G.
7, as in 7.
There we go. Yeah, I like this style. Here's the thing with Instagram. A lot of people on Instagram, they follow a certain style, don't they? They follow a certain,
I haven't been doing a really great job of it. Like, I've been trying, but every time I get like this picture, I'm just like, wow, I really want to post this picture, but it doesn't even like fit in the theme. And I'm just like, whatever, I'm going to post it.
Yeah. To be honest, Instagram is a bit tricky because it's not the most SEO friendly. And it's not like, it's not like a lot of people can, it's difficult to be big on Instagram. I find it hard, even to
for sure.
market yourself.
There's this new platform coming out soon called Glass, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and it's supposed to be like they're doing it for photographers and only for photographers. Like, they're not trying to beat Instagram. It's not trying to so you don't post your TikTok videos on it. It's like platform only for photographers, and it's it's a very exciting prospect of an app. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Was it called Glass?
I think it's called Glass. Yeah, I can send you the link to it after the meeting.
I'm gonna check it out. This is awesome. This is so cool. I mean, I assume it was in Egypt, obviously.
Yeah, it was.
Where exactly was this?
In the pyramids, by the pyramids in Giza.
Oh my God, I really want to go to Egypt. I want to go to Egypt because I want to get the most classic sand dune photography.
Yeah,
I love sand dunes. I think when it comes to landscape photography, when you look at sand dunes, they look so cool.
I can't agree more.
They look so cool.
Every time I go to Egypt, I want to do all of these trips and go and see the sand dunes more, and like go to everywhere where it's like super nice places for photography, but I end up like spending time with my family, and nothing really happens.
So what do you think? Give us your opinion about the contest so far. Like this latest contest was monochrome. What do you think? Let's just go to the entries here.
Yeah,
I've already chosen the winner. But what do you think of the entries in terms of quality and the people that have submitted?
To be honest, they're
give us your opinion.
really good. They're really good. Like I know that the size of the group is like compact, and it's the quality within the photographers in the group that is really good. Like I've seen several times really good pictures. I'm just like, wow, like these pictures they're awesome. And it's really good to know that there are like photographers out there that are really like doing really good.
Yeah. No, it's that's why I kind of like the group a lot, because it's a bit more of a sharing experience, I think.
And if you get the picture that won the contest, just wanna. I just absolutely love, like, it feels like he's done a long exposure on even the sand. Like it's so good. Like I've never seen the sand so smooth.
So smooth.
Like it just gives it such like the contrast between the texture of the sand and the rocks behind it. It just like gives you a very, it's just,
and
like
it's out of focus
nice
as well. I didn't even it's out of focus. I didn't even care at this point. Like I thought I didn't even factor that in. I was like, okay, it's out of focus, but it still looks good.
Because I think like there's like right now, like there's so many long exposure photos, and it's like very saturated with long exposure photos, and it's very like, it's not often that I see a long exposure photo that actually like, it's like, okay, wow, like this is a really cool photo that I personally might even want to like recreate sometime.
Right.
And I think what does it for me is the dynamic range is really good, but like the smooth sand and the rocks behind, it's you can see that he's clearly put, or she has clearly put a lot of effort into it.
100%. So what would you say is long exposure? You very, very interested, like out of all of the photography genres, what would you say is the thing that you gravitate more towards? Like, is it landscapes? Is it street photography? Is it architecture?
I don't know. I try to.
Or are you more of a balance of everything?
Yeah,
like
I think
if a specific image inspires you, like the moon, then you will try to make that your own.
Exactly. And I try to. One thing I want to get into more, and it's like people photography. To tell stories through people, and I used to do that. If you go onto my Instagram like 2 years ago, I was trying to focus more on street photography, and that was when I got my first, not professional camera, but like a camera with a lens kind of thing, and like a proper camera, so to say. And
right.
That's when I wanted to go into street photography more, but now I want to go more into like model photography and like real people photography in real situations. Maybe using models or actors or whatever it is.
Well, if you're interested in, because there's a genre of photography and it's basically excuse me, it's basically staged. And what these photographers do is they recreate a scene that tries to evoke a feeling.
Like, exactly.
Example, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Like this here, and these are all actors, so she's essentially paid all these actors, but the setting is real. This is in London, and this is in the Thames, and she's basically just recreated that. Like, for example, here, and it's staged, but it tells a story. Like the purpose of these images is to tell a story.
I got that idea actually like last year. I don't know if you've watched it or not. Peaky Blinders is one of the series that I love the cinematography in it, and I love the lighting and the coloring and all of that. But I got that idea last year when I was watching it, and there was this one scene where there were two characters, and you can only see their like silhouettes, so you can't really see them, and they were under a bridge, and it was a really foggy, like kind of foggy environment, and I'm just like. My first comment towards it's a scene, and my first comment towards that scene is like, wow, this is a really nice picture. So I feel like I wanted to capture that like kind of, that kind of situation or that kind of moment that is like more of a series, that is in a series or in a movie, and like kind of have it on a picture, and that's what I want to go towards or gravitate towards.
I've actually interviewed this photographer that I'm showing you, and she says it takes ages to take these things together, because she works with several actors, and then you have to think about the location, you have to get the permits, you have to get the actors have to be there on time, you have to do the makeup, you have to for one image, you know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
but you can tell that the end result is worth it, because the hours of editing justify.
Yeah, it's very similar to the picture
justify
that you have on right now. It's like the same kind of
vibe.
gloomy vibe, kind of with the it's at night, almost at the evening, and like with the fog and stuff like that. So.
That's really cool. That's awesome. Let's see this other one. Who was it? I can't spell his name. It's a complicated name. Joel Mayowitz. He has this one image I think you might be interested in, and it's sort of like that, but he's a purely street photographer, and he has a few like this. So if you're interested in getting some inspiration with like some fogginess, he photographs in New York. Yeah. In New York quite a bit, and he has stuff like this. For example, was with the Twin Towers, but you can tell the fogginess is very interesting. The way that he's captured it, the light, it's there. So if you're ever interested in, I advise to actually look at street photography for inspiration if you're interested in that, because the way that they do it, the way that they capture it is special. If you want to ever recreate that scene from Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I wish I had put more focus on was when I was in New York in 2013, when I was doing my my course in film in New York Film Academy, was to actually be able to take more pictures over there. Back then it was like 2013. I didn't even have a camera on me. My mobile phone didn't have a camera that was like that kind of could help with me expressing my my interests. But it was just like, and I was too caught up in like the New York life and the tasks for the course and all of that. But one thing for sure that I want to do is go back to New York with like what I know now, and kind of take all of
I think you would do some very interesting photographs there. I think you really would do some photo, because New York is such a photogenic place. It really is. Like, to go there is to go to take pictures, period. So I've never been to America ever.
Oh, okay.
I wonder what it's like. Everyone says it's everything is big. Everyone says that everything is big. That's the word that they use to describe. When you go there, everything is big.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, my first ever experience with the US was New York. So it was like a big kind of, like you're saying, like thrown in the shark tank once more. But it was just so much happening at every single time. I mean, I lived in New York and Ohio and Florida, and out of all of them, like New York was like there's like something happening every single time. Like I didn't even feel like that I was in New York like until after, because you don't have like, I didn't have time to process what it was like, you know, like it has to be like you're done with this, and then you're after, and then you're going to the next task, and then the other task, and then it's like you have to keep on moving forward. You don't really have time to sit down and like reflect and kind of like But
they say that
great experience.
They say that you live to work there. You don't work to live.
No.
So I don't know if I could live in a city where I just work to live, you know?
Yeah.
I'm more of a, I live to work. I'm more of a I work to live person.
Yeah.
I want my time, or at least a little bit of time. I want my tranquility.
Yeah. No, I that's not in New York. And to be fair, also, I mean, I'm from Cairo. I've lived in Cairo my entire life. So it's not really a far stretch between New York and Cairo, and maybe that helped me a little bit, like kind of adapt when I was living in New York. But like the biggest culture shock for me, I lived in Malmo for like 2 years. That was like a huge like culture shock for me, because Malmo is a very, like compared to New York and Cairo, there's nothing happening there. So it was
Malmo?
Malmo is in Sweden. It's like the third biggest city in Sweden, and it's, I mean, to put it in perspective, like Gothenburg has, I think it's 500 to 800,000 people living in Gothenburg. Malmo is even less than that. Cairo and New York, each of them has like around 20 million people living in each city. So when I was in Malmo, I was like, what is this? It was like nothing happening at all.
What's Cairo like? I'm very, very, very interested. I would love to visit Cairo. I'd love to.
It's like, I know you would probably understand that analogy, but it's the definition of a concrete jungle. if
Yeah,
you
I
go
know,
there,
yeah.
and it's like, yeah, exactly. It's more or less like there are some places in Cairo where you can get some tranquility and you can just chill, and there's not much like crowdedness or anything like that. But the 90% of Cairo is very densely populated, and there's so many buildings, and the traffic is crazy, and all of that. But once you get out of Cairo, once you start like going to Egypt, not just Cairo, you will see a whole different side, like a beautiful country that has so much like beautiful spots. Like as a photographer, like that I would love to spend a year just. I personally, there are some spots